Good morning, everyone. So, I am Luis Fatima A. Abeme. I am here to discuss to you the managing a multi-grade classroom. So, managing a multi-grade classroom is all about classroom organization, student management, and ultimately the successful transmission of grade-specific curricula. It is our responsibility as a multi-grade teacher to plan and organize our classroom to get the best result from the space and resources available to us. Managing of a multi-grade classroom revolves around the three dimension. First is teacher, second is classroom, and last is students. Teachers is the one who plan and organize the classroom. She or he also have the authority to control the classroom and manage the use of time. The teacher is the one who delegate the responsibilities in classroom management. Next is we have the classroom. So makita nato sa classroom is we have the physical conditions. Kung okay ba ang condition sa classroom. And next is in teaching and learning. Next is activities, the activities that we give to the students. And lastly is the routines, which is in every kanang ginahimo nato every day sa atong classroom. For example, prayer, attendance, review, and motivation. And next is students. So, ang mga students is ginahatagan na sila og mga time na maghimo sa ilahang task. Also, the students display a good behavior in the classroom. Next is relationships. So, in the classroom, the students and teachers build a relationship bet um, in the classroom. The students and the teacher have a relationship to each other, which is muna siya ang basihan through the interaction with each other. Lastly is responsibilities. As a multi-grade teacher, you are the key to planning, designing, and managing a range of both grade appropriate and mixed grade activities for children to keep them engaged in learning. Your effectiveness rests on creating a classroom conducive to learning by developing existing and stimulating activities ranging from group work to independent study. We teachers play a central role in managing the classroom in the following ways. Planning the use of the classroom space, especially flexible setting arrangement for both you and your students. Mo is naay space para makahimo og mga different activities ang students og napoy flexible nga setting arrangement for both sa teacher og students. Next is planning and carrying out multiple lessons at the same time. Designing activities for students to keep them involved. So nagaplan ang multigrade teachers nagaplan na sila og nagadesign na sila og mga activities para sa students para ma-involve sila through learning. Creating, arranging and using teaching and learning materials. So in managing the classroom, so naga-use ang teacher og mga materials and resources para sa teaching and learning. Establishing norms of behaviors expected of students to keep them learning. Next, we have to move on to the understanding the current context and creating a future vision. In order to release these functions effectively, we teachers need to focus on many levels of classroom management. This starts with an assessment of what your classroom looks like, what your classroom looks like now, and our vision of how you want it to look in the future. When you first get assigned to a school with has or should have a multigrade teaching, it is essential to take time to gain a clear understanding of context of your multigrade classroom. You can start by asking yourself the following questions. Unsa naka-locate ang imong school? Unsa pod kalayo ang imong ang school ang unsa pod ang kalayo sa gi-travel sa sa imong mga students paingon sa eskwelahan? What grades are you teaching? Unsa mga grade level ang imong gitudloan? What age and ability range is in your classroom? How might you best work with and take advantage of a wide range of age and abilities? Sa imong mga best works or mga methods na maka-take ka og mga advantage sa mga ing-ani nga mga sa mga different age and abilities sa mga students. What kind of family background do your students come from? So asa gikan sa mga family background sa imong mga students, what is their economic status? What language do your students speak at home? How will they understand and speak the national language? So how language do students speak at home? For example, ilang mother tongue is Bisaya. So dapat ang imong medium of instruction is what might you do to ensure they learn what they need to learn in the language you use in a classroom? How many have had some kind of how many have had some kind those who have not had naa ba kay mga students na wala ka experience og preschool or kindergarten level of school unsa imuhang matabang mong mahimo nga matabangan sila na ma-experience nila ang preschool na schooling. special education needs in regards to physical or cognitive abilities, ay special education needs or kanang mga physical disabilities like naa siya'y depende siya sa hearing o sa visions o sa pag-istorya pod. So what can you do unsa imo mga himuon to response their needs? What resources do you have to make the classroom and school work better? Unsa na mga resources ang imong gamiton to make the classroom and the school work better in learning? According to the national curriculum, what should be taught to each grade and how will have your students learn the curriculum so far? To what extent do your head teacher, principal, and the other teacher in your school understand and practice multigrade teaching? If their understanding is limited, what can you do to increase support for your work? Do the parents of your children understand and support multigrade teaching? So, ang mga parents mo sa imong mga students is nag-support ba sila og sila sa multigrade teaching o sa multigrade classroom og nakasabot ba sila kung unsa na ang multigrade teaching? Again, if not, what can you do unsa imong mga himon to help them to understand the need for such teaching? Number two is once you have a good understanding of the students in your class, take time to create a vision in your mind about what you want your multigrade classroom to look like. So mag-visualize na ka sa imuhang mind kung unsa ang kanang forma sa imuhang multigrade nga classroom. So I have three here: that child-friendly environment, the mix of different teaching methods, structured and unstructured learning. A child-friendly environment. A welcoming, inclusive, healthy, protective, and child-friendly environment which helps your student, most of whom have probably not had any preschool experience, feel comfortable in the school and ensure that they do not drop out before completion of the primary school cycle. So dapat ang imong classroom is welcoming siya, healthy, and also safe, feel safe ang mga students na mag-stay sa imuhang classroom. Next is a rich mixture of grade appropriate and mixed grade teaching. Peer learning, a mixed different teaching methods which are the peer learning through group work and pair work, personalized teaching, independent learning through tutoring, and teacher and students interaction to make sure that all children learn and that no child is excluded from learning because of gender, language, poverty, disability, or any other resources. So in using your teaching methods, So dapat walay malahi because of sa ilahang sa gender language o sa disability sa usa ka students. So dapat ang tanang students next is a disciplined classroom with a harmonious learning environment which makes structured learning. For example, for teaching science, arithmetic, reading, and writing. Mo na siya ang sa mix structured learning. I rather sa structured learning. And and unstructured learning, ang sa unstructured learning is storytelling, singing, play, games, and etc. So for example, sa English nga subject, ang structured learning diri is reading. Tapos ang unstructured learning is kanang mag-storytelling. Mo na siya ang structured and unstructured learning. Next, we have to move on to the preparing the classroom. Once you have created your vision, you can start translating it into practice by planning what you want to do in a clear and simple terms. A crucial part of planning an effective multi-grade classroom is organizing its space so that it allows free movements and can be used for different activities by individual students, individual grade, small groups, and the whole group. So dapat ang imuhang classroom is kanang pwede maka move move towards around the classroom ang imuhang mga students para sa mga different activities such as individual activity or sa small group nga activity or sa whole nga class nga activity. With a teacher facing all students in rows with a chalk classroom where several activities are happening at the same time. So ang kantong traditional na setting arrangement sa classroom nato is kanang dili na siya effective sa multi-grade classroom kay because ang multi-grade classroom is kailangan siya og kanang naay reading corner, na ay table sa group work, naay learning corner, and naapoy ka ng teacher's resource area. So dili na siya so katong traditional setting arrangement sa classroom is dili na siya effective sa multi-grade classroom. So therefore, we teachers will need to think about how your classroom can be divided into different areas. The key word in this process is flexibility. The ability to move students and desks around inside the classroom to create the kind of learning space you decide. Such as understanding the space in the classroom and the resources available for conducting classes, deciding on the types of teaching method and student activities possible in the space available given the number of students and grades in your classroom. For example, if a lot of group work is planned, you may want to create several areas for group discussion or activity and leave less space for one-on-one teaching and independent learning. So mas dako ang dapat sa multi-grade classroom, mas dako ang space sa kanang sa group discussion or sa activity nga corner. So mas less tong space sa one-on-one teaching o independent learning. Drawing a floor plan of the classroom with a setting plan that promotes your desired learning activity and shows the placement of furniture, books, materials, and etc. So I have here the example floor plan for a multi-grade classroom. So as we observe, mas gamay ang space sa ar- ay, mas gamay ang space sa sitting arrangement sa by grade level. Ug sa diriya sa mga kilid sa by sides, makita na to diriya ang reading corner, teacher resources, learning corner, and group work table. Mao ni siya ang kanang itsura sa multi-grade classroom. So next is organizing groups and activities. In a multi-grade classroom, several simultaneous activities go on at the same time. We teachers therefore need to arrange the classroom for activities that engage students with minimum disturbance and with adequate direction and supervision. Our task becomes especially crucial in forming various kind of groups. This largely depends on the nature and purpose of the subject taken up for study at a particular time. Some subjects may require mixed ability groups while others benefits from whole class groups. Some may require peer tutoring while others requires independent assignments and self-directed learning with systematic support from you and peer tutors. The process of forming groups mainly follows two approaches. First is grouping students purposefully by age, grade, or ability. Second is grouping students of different backgrounds. Ang first group are often formed on a semi-permanent basis over weeks of instruction and are usually designed to cover a specific part of the curriculum in depth and across grade levels. For example, the detailed study of local farming techniques and products. So kini siya nga kanang objective is kanang for 1 week na ni siya nga ang na-cover ani niya is for 1 week na siya nga instruction sa curriculum. The second group naman are more spontaneous and usually created for a specific task over a shorter time period. So, for example, writing a short story on something that happened in the local village. So, kano siya is nag-cover lang niya ang specific lang nga task over sa short time or in one session lang siya. Other methods of organizing groups can be explored and adapt to fit your students' age and maturity level. To make this more feasible, you can create activities which do not require your direct supervision but rather are based on mixed ability and some ability groups, peer tutoring, and a wide variety and range of individual work assignments such as solving arithmetic sums or practicing handwriting. So in teaching multigrade jud siya in managing the classroom of multigrade is big help jud ang methods na peer tutoring. So the next the let's move on to the being efficient and flexible in the use of time to be discussed by Miss Juvie Manto.
Thank you, Miss Abueme. Good day, everyone. I am Juvie Almonto to discuss the continuation of our topic about managing a multi-grade classroom. So this time, I will discuss the last three subtopics of managing a multi-grade classroom. First, being efficient and flexible and the use of time. Second, using a positive discipline and demonstrating sensitivity to each student's uniqueness. So, it is important to make the best use of time available when involving students in different activities. The choice and organization of activities are essential conditions for good multi-grade classroom management. So, as a teacher or as a future teacher, when handling or managing a multi-grade classroom, we should also have a clear idea about how to divide our students by both grade and age levels and provide types of activities that are best for different groups or grades. So this will help us as a teacher to plan activities that which suit multi-grade situations. So we should also give the students an enough time to do the given activities for different grade levels. For example, from grades 1 and 2, we need more teacher support in addition to aids such as posters, charts, artwork to appropriate their age. Okay, so in these grades, from grade 1 and grade 2, needs more support for their teacher, especially those who had not experienced preschool or kindergarten school. As we all know, from preschool or kindergarten, dinhaan nagsugod ang learning sa students, especially itong mga basic skills like drawings, counting numbers from 1 to 10, reading alphabetical letters, and etc. So in this grade levels, who had difficulty in these skills needs more extra help from their teacher. That's why teacher should give more support and attention in these grade levels. Then we have grades 3 and 4. We need more peer tutor then we have grades 3 and 4. We need more peer tutoring along with instructional guides and dictionaries to help them through their more complicated curriculum and ensure they continue their mastery of basic skills. So, in this grade levels needs peer tutoring. Like for example, kanang i-divide nimo ang students into two peers. Then sa duha ka students, i-assign nimo ang isa na responsible na motudo sa iyang partner like reading basic English words, kanang tamang spelling sa words, and tama na pronunciation sa words. So, na-experience na ko ni siya but dili sa elementary level kanang gi-assign ang students which is capable and responsible in tutoring his or her. So na-experience na ako ni siya but dili sa elementary level. Kanang nag-assign ang teacher of students na capable and responsible in tutoring his or her classmate. So then we have grade 5 and grade 6. Require considerable teacher support and monitored independent study in addition to problem solving exercises. So in these grade levels, teacher will give learning materials or activities and mag-monitor sa ilang learning abilities like kanang mag-support na lang sa students, for example, giving them reports. So ihasa sila through reporting, but the job of teacher is to monitor their study and give feedback for their work. Now let's move on to the use of positive discipline. So to create an environment of positive discipline in the classroom and to make sure you never use any kind of physical or corporal punishment, you can first use the first week of school to familiarize your students with their new multi-grade environment. So from the first 2 week of school, the students are not yet familiarized with their new environment, especially they have a multi-grade environment with different grade levels and age levels. So as a teacher, we should assign responsibilities for tasks to be carried out, show them the different spaces for each activity, involve them in arranging the classroom, and keeping things organized, and have them practice moving the classroom furniture and resources around the room as needed for the different parts of the school day. Then, ask your students to discuss in groups the rules they follow at home and at school. Have the groups report back to the whole class what rules they have in common and then write some of this up on the board. So in this part, kanang mag-ask ka sa student og mga rules na gina-follow nila sa ilang balay and of course, ma-follow siya sa classroom setting. So kung unsa tong first six na rules na gina-follow nila in common, so, mo to imong gamiton nga classroom rules as basis of your class code of conduct. So, kay kabalo naman sila atong rules, mas dali ra nila ma-follow inside the classroom. Then, decide on consequences for students who follow or do not follow instructions. So, in implementing those rules, mag-decide na po kag consequences sa students na nagpakita og appropriate behavior such as praising for good behavior. And on the other hand, not tolerated those who act inappropriate behavior inside the classroom. Then we help children working in smaller groups to understand what behavior you expect during group activities, such as taking turns, encouraging all group members to contribute, and etc. Then specify the rules to be followed for each space. So in this part means to give specific rules. For example, if you have created a reading corner, then explain to your students that they must be quiet and not to talk when they are in that space. Okay? So then lastly, demonstrate a code of conduct to students not only through direct instruction, but also by modeling good behavior yourself. So of course, dili lang sa students nga rules imong i-implement. But of course, by modeling good behavior yourself as a teacher. Dili lang kay ang students ang follow for those classroom rules, but also you or we as a teacher should follow because we are also part in the classroom. Especially, we are managing a multi-grade classroom. Then let's move on to demonstrating sensitivity to each student's uniqueness. So we cannot deny the fact that not all students are the same, and like all teachers, you must be aware of and respond to their differences. So many factors make every child unique and different both in how they best learn and what they can learn. Students in multi-grade schools generally live in rural remote, and sparsely populated areas. So in this figure demonstrates factors affecting children's learning. So we have first, we have gender, male and female. So girls may be more disadvantaged than boys in terms of work in the home and parental expectations. While boys are less likely to attend school, but not all, of course. Then second, we have also parents' education or educational backgrounds of parents that influences the interest of their children in learning at school. Then language ability. So they speak so language ability, like they speak a language at home different from that in the school. Yes, of course, one factor is the language, especially ang students. Usually, kina-use niya nga language is ang language at home. For example, Bisaya language. So, mas preferable ang students to use Bisaya than English language, which is the school language. Then, we have special education needs related to stunting due to malnutrition, impaired vision and hearing, and other physical or cognitive disabilities. Then we have also family economic status. That family may be very poor and cannot sustain the educational needs of their children. Next, we have health and nutrition status. Like the students are unhealthy, malnutrition, and not able to go to school because of their health conditions. Then, we have also innate potential and capacities. And last, we have preferred learning style. Like ang students, gusto lang og independent learning, which will learn by himself or herself. And some are preferred to learn in group discussions. So overall, these are factors affecting children's learning. Okay, let's move on to so so there are several ways that teachers can respond to the different backgrounds and abilities of each student. First, ensure that your classroom is genuinely inclusive by welcoming all children regardless of their gender, socioeconomic status, ability, and language or ethnicity. So, of course, as a teacher, we should not allow other students to discriminate against their classmates or not to allow teacher to discriminate his or her students regardless of their gender, socioeconomic status, ability, and language or ethnicity. Then second one, personalize the content you deliver and the methods you use to the individual backgrounds and needs of each of your students. Then help new students, especially those who have not been to a preschool, to overcome the fear, anxiety, and nervousness that they often have when they enter school. Of course, ang bata, kung bago pa na sila mo eskwela, kanang bago pa lang sa first day of school, makulbaan and mahadlok pa jud na sila, especially in multi-grade environment na lahi-lahi ang behavior sa students for one classroom. Then we have, then next, make an effort to get to know your students so that you understand their learning conditions, family backgrounds, and expectation they hold for the school. So through wiki conversations with the families and visit to their homes can help you or can help us as a teacher to get some information and help us to find possible ways in managing a multi-grade classroom environment. Then, promote classroom interactions across ages, grades, and ability levels between boys and girls. So, in order to stimulate cognitive development improve language skills, and enhance vocabulary. That's all our slime topic about managing a multi-grade classroom. Thank you.